This just might be the craziest spring break story you've ever heard. Me and 14 of my friends decided to go to Cabo for spring break when we were in college. We rented an Airbnb and thought everything was going to be so much fun. But on the first night, there was already a couple of my friends that were too tired to go out, so we just decided to split up. Half of my friends stayed at the house and half of us went out to a bar. The bar we ended up going to was right on the water, and as we're sitting there eating our food, a yacht pulls up. And I don't mean like a small yacht, I mean like a huge party yacht. There was little dinghy boats bringing people to and from the yacht. My friend that spoke Spanish went over and started talking to one of the boat taxi drivers. He said that if we wanted to, we could all jump on his boat and he would take us out to the yacht. Since it was spring break, of course I couldn't pass up on this opportunity, so I started running towards his boat to jump on because he was screaming for us to hurry. I was in such a hurry to make sure that I got on that boat, I didn't even look back to see if my friends were behind me. By the time that I realized none of my friends had come with me, I was already halfway to the yacht. Since I was already halfway to the yacht and I didn't speak any Spanish, I just decided to wait it out, get on the yacht, and make some friends when I get there. Luckily, there was plenty of other students there on spring break, so I made plenty of friends. I ended up just staying on the boat all night because the taxi stopped running, but as soon as I could get off in the morning, I went ahead and got off. I called a taxi to drive me back to the Airbnb, but whenever we pulled up to the gates of the neighborhood, there was security and police everywhere. My taxi driver kept driving and dropped me off at the front door, but when we pulled up to the Airbnb, it was literally surrounded by police. That's when I realized that this had to have something to do with me and my friends, and it wasn't just the area we were in. When I saw my friends, I ran up to them and asked them what was going on. It turned out that one of my friends who had stayed at the house ended up falling down the stairs in the middle of the night, breaking the banister and one of the paintings on the wall, and had to be rushed to the ER because he split his head open. The property manager had called the police to make sure that we paid for the damages to the house. The weird part is that they wanted it in cash and said we weren't leaving until we paid. My friend that spoke Spanish was the only one that was able to actually talk to the police. They told her that if we didn't pay for the damages to the house in cash, we weren't leaving the property. We had the money to pay for it, but not in cash because they were wanting over $2,000. We were all freaking out thinking that we were going to be held hostage here in Cabo forever. We all called our parents, who then contacted the U.S. Embassy, and before we knew it, our faces were all over the news with the headlines, 15 American college students held against their will in Cabo. At the moment, there was nothing we could do, so we just decided to go back in the house and sit down and wait. I guess the property manager had also ended up calling a maid service to help clean up the damage done inside the house. Whenever the maids got there, we explained to them what was going on and that we were absolutely terrified. Luckily, they had already seen the news, and so they were willing to help us. They moved all their cleaning supplies into the house and backed their van into the garage. They explained to my friend that if we all got in the van, they would drive us to a nearby hotel where we could stay the rest of the trip. The police were guarding the front door, but we all snuck around them and ended up getting out. We did have to stay in a gross hotel for about a week, though.
This is why you should never study too much. Kenzie's mom was obsessed with her grades, so she bought her an old school desk so she could study more at home. But Kenzie soon felt a mysterious pain in her back that'd only be there when she sat in the desk. No one could find the reason why, until one day, after going to doctors and even psychics for help, Kenzie's mother became desperate. But she could have never imagined the true reason behind Kenzie's mysterious back pain, and the truth behind this desk was something much more terrifying. Kenzie's mom decided to take a photo of her in the desk to fix her posture, and this led to their horrifying discovery. When the photo was developed, she saw a shadowy figure hanging above Kenzie, trying to put her feet on Kenzie's shoulders. The next morning, her mom angrily returned the desk, and that's when she found out the figure in the photo was a girl who used to sit in this desk until the pressure of being perfect was just too much to handle, and she passed away in the classroom.
One day I went to Walmart with my mom. While my mom and I were shopping around Walmart, we realized that there was this lady following us all over the store. Any aisle we would be at, she would be behind us. We're gonna call the lady that was following us Vicky. So eventually Vicky stopped following my mom and I, and she approached us and she was like, hey, I'm an agent for big agencies and I can make your daughter a star. Long story short, Vicky ended up inviting my mom and I to this event that would make me famous. And she asked my mom if we could go. My mom felt really sketch about it, so she was like, hey, no, I'm sorry, we're gonna have to pass on this. So Vicky ended up walking away. She was very mad and she started crying when my mom said no. So after saying no to Vicky, she ended up following us again, but this time she had a knife with her while she was following us. So my mom and I decided to tell the security to walk us out to our car because of this Vicky girl, and she had a knife in her hand, and so we made it to the car safe, and then when we got home, guess who we see? Vicky was in my front yard, but it does not end there. This is the best part. She was outside of my house holding my cat. I don't know how she even got my address because she got there before my mom and I did. My cat was inside. I don't know how she got her. So this Vicky was holding my cat and we saw her and I was like, dude, let her go. I started crying because I love my cat. Like, it was amazing. It was amazing. And then Vicky starts crying. Like, you literally broke into my house.
You guys, this is why I never let anybody copy my homework anymore. I must have been in like 11th grade. For a while, people that I wasn't really all that close with kept asking me to send them the homework. It was like 3 different people. I barely knew them. They would find me on Facebook and they would be like, hey, oh my gosh, do you have this assignment? I want to preface this by saying I'm a huge people pleaser. Also, I never had any issues with anybody in school. I didn't see why I shouldn't do this. So I would just send them the homework and they'd be like, oh, I'm gonna change it for sure. Yeah, just make sure you do because I don't want to get in trouble. Again, I just didn't really want any unnecessary attention. I just wanted to finish the school year and just, you know, go where I need to go. I wasn't really all that close with these people. So one day I'm sitting in my poetry class, which is like literally my least favorite class. Not because of poetry, but because of the teacher. Oh, I couldn't stand her. The bell rings dismissing everyone, but she's like, Joe, I need to talk to you. Like, okay. Oh, I just wanted to leave. She tries to be all clever and smart and goes, look at this. She shows me a different student's paper. I'm like, okay. Then she shows me mine. This is part 2 as to why I don't let people copy my homework anymore. Again, the teacher showed me another student's work, and then she showed me mine, and they were identical. Not a single thing changed. I'm also adding that this student who she was showing me the paper of wasn't the student I sent my homework to. So in my head, I was like, oh my gosh, I sent my homework to someone. They sent it to someone else, and that person didn't bother to change anything about the work. The teacher was standing there looking at me like, and what can I do? She's like, what do you see here? I'm like, they're the same. They are exactly the same. By the way, the other student was also there. She made them stay as well. Teacher goes, what would you like me to do about this? Oh, I just want to leave. I just say, I don't know, we ended up with the same answers. She explains that we're both getting a 0. Tells me, specifically me, not to cheat. What? I walk out the door, she yells, I don't want to ever catch you cheating again. Oh my god. This is to say I wasn't giving my homework out anymore. I wasn't the one cheating!
Have you ever seen a painting that looked extremely realistic? Jake was waiting for his mom when he saw a strangely realistic painting, but he made one mistake that would lead to terrifying consequences. During his mom's doctor's appointment, Jake was sitting alone in the hospital waiting room. That's when he saw the painting. It looked so real, almost like a photo. He was promised ice cream if he sat quietly, but he found himself growing more and more curious. He felt like he needed to move closer to the painting, so he got up and walked towards it. The painting was of an old man, but there was something wrong with it. It seemed like the eyes would follow Jake no matter where he'd walk. But soon something even more unbelievable would happen, something no one can explain. The painting, needless to say, made Jake feel creeped out, but he tried not to feel so scared. It was a painting after all. Then Jake leaned in and saw one weird detail. The old man had unusually long fingers and fingernails. A bit later, Jake's mom came out of the doctor's office, but Jake was nowhere to be found. She called him but got no reply. Then she turned around and saw a very realistic painting on the wall. The boy in the painting looked oddly familiar.